Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. It is the 27th March in a couple of days. So, what's going on today? So, looks like we've had a channel with a break. This, to me, looks like it may be starting to work up. It's a bit hard to say. I've got sort of multiple ideas here. So, Karina, good morning to you. Armanas, how you doing? Daryl, good morning, good afternoon. And Jan, how you doing, pal? So, as you can see, I pushed yesterday afternoon and got a few more and managed to get up to the 20p account. So I can just focus now on what I'm doing. I've got them all locked to one contract. I can't trade anymore. 2 losses maximum with a little bit of flexibility of $50 in case I get out of a trade. First 2 minutes, I can't trade. We have got some more news coming up. Pending home sales at around about 3 o'clock, which is just under 30 minutes. So hopefully, I can forget the evals now. Hopefully now, as long as I play the game right, I shouldn't have to pay any more money. So we've got a leg up, 2 legs down. So is this going up? Let me have a look. 10 seconds and I can trade. We've pushed up. We've made 1 attempt to go lower. 2nd attempt to go lower. This to me looks like it may push up. I can buy here. Let me see what size it's 18 ticks. That's expensive. I actually like it. See if we can get it on a limit order. No, it's not going to get us, is it? I actually really like that. I just didn't want to get in this early for 18 ticks. It's rather large, but we got a channel up, 2 clear legs back, and I can see it breaking above there. There's bound to be some stops there. So that's where I would target that. Let me just see if there's enough points. 3 1/4, so it would have to hit that, depending on how I got in. I like that. 2 clear legs back, big bullish bar. So I'd expect that to break above there and hit that. But it is a bit congested, although you can read it is 2 legs back. But I don't like getting in too early. Market can flutter around a little bit. Possible high low here. We'll see. I wonder if we're doing something like that. That actually doesn't look that bad. There may be a higher low there. I'm going to get in here on a limit order, see if it... It's a small risk, I think. Come back and get me. Come on. Damn it. It is a higher low. I like that.
Order
okay,
submitted.
Let's leave that at that. Now, I know it's more risk, but I think that is the safest place to put that. It is a bit more risk, but there you go. Two legs back. I might have misjudged this. Oh dear. Bound to be some stops there and there, so that's looking much better. That was definitely the safer place. That one was kind of in the middle, so I'd expect that to work. In fact, I'm just wondering whether I go for a little bit more there. No, let's not get too greedy.
Order filled.
There we go. Beautiful. Okay. That's the one I wanted to take. Now, I know I got in there, but actually what I really did was getting on a limit order on that one. It just turns out it was going to be a little bit more risk, but I still think it was worthwhile. Push up sideways, another leg up. I was tempted to hold there, but the trouble is sometimes when you get a bit greedy, it's easy to that was the better trade, I think. We had that channel up. Let's have a look. We had one leg back, 2 legs back. So clearly 1 leg, 2 leg, strong buying there. That is kind of in the middle, but as it came back and I got that, what I really intended on doing was getting to there on a limit order. I expect another leg. I was tempted to hold, perhaps I should have done, but that's kind of where I expected to go, which would take those new highs, and I think that's as good as any, as a solid base for that push up. So I think I got in around about here somewhere. So I mean, there's a potential 16 points there comfortably, and I reckon I would get it as well. So we got this and a leg and a leg. For range, could not enter. See, if it's readable, I heard someone say, don't get on congestion unless you can read it. That to me is readable, I think. We've got 1 leg back, 2 pushes up and a second leg back, and strong buying right from the bottom. Now, we did come back, but we didn't hit it in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, that's usually the safest part. Now, the thing is, that was a bigger risk because I got in on a limit order, but based on that was where, if I'd have got in there, it'd have taken me out. But that, for me, was the line in the sand. Now, I know it was a $300 risk, but that's normally what I take on 3 points. So I kind of didn't mind it. But it was, when it came back and that came up, I think it was kind of a limit order there. So, but that was the one. It was just a bit too much. I got in somewhere around about here. I didn't technically get in any lower, but that was the kind of buying point for me. So I get 3 points. Almost. That's a triple test, to be honest with you, isn't it? That. But we push up, we go to the side, and we push up again. So I'm pretty sure we'll get our second leg up. So if I was going to hold that, I would quite soon put me stop to break even. That way you kind of got a risk-free trade. But I think, you know, what I want to try and do is just slowly increase the amount of profit I take. Now, the only issue I have with that is we haven't got very far to the top. At the top of the channel, and that always makes me nervous. So what this may be, I still think that would be safe. I think what this may be is a spike in the channel. We seem to get more and more of those lately. But I think that there, if you had your stop there, unless it has a reversal or something, that is safe. So maybe a leg and a leg, let's see. Let's see if it takes that. It's took that. A lot of the times it will stay safe unless this thing is starting to range. A lot of times it'll come down, take any previous ones, but it won't touch that position. That, for me, looks the strongest position. Now, I could be wrong, obviously, but So I'm going to get rid of that. See what it does here. Okay, so it did stop it out. So I think there's... I'm just wondering whether this is kind of starting to range a bit. See, that is the open, isn't it? Let's just get rid of these. So I'm quite glad I just took the points now instead of holding. It's worth holding if it's clear, but that once that starts to go a little bit like that, it starts to become not very clear. So you could consider that a triple test, I think. 1, 2, 3. It's 3 bounces, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, and up. Yeah, I think somebody took it here. He had the same idea. Channel up, 2 legs down. Consider that high or low. For me, it was just 2 legs. And the failure or the triple test. I don't know. He took it. Anybody else? No, it's getting a bit early now, so... So, leg up, 2 legs back. Now, that's interesting. Let's just do this. Where's this news? 3 o'clock. So this looks like 2 legs. Jan, I wanted to have a quick word, mate, if I could. This news thing, just looking at the alarms. What I'm using this for is the first alarm. What I want is a first alarm to say do 5 minutes and the second alarm to do 2. Now, it's kind of the other way around here. This is the second alarm, and the shortest time I can do 5 minutes as the second alarm. So normally, first alarm, I would say 5 minutes, second alarm 2. So I've just swapped it round. So I've done the second alarm at 5 minutes, which is that one. And then the first alarm at 2 minutes. It doesn't matter the fact that they're called 1 and 2. They'll still go in order of time, I'm assuming, bud, won't they? 5 minutes just to let me know, and then a 2 minute sort of emergency kind of warning, you know what I mean? But I think it should... I don't think it should matter that they're called 1 and 2. I think it's more about the times that they're set. I'm guessing that's right. Okay, so in fact, I would probably even go as far as to put that there. So channel with an overshoot. Now I think there may be a good chance we get a leg up, 2 legs back, and a leg up. So let's see if that works. If I took that trade, whether that's an overshoot, I'd probably think about high or low, but this looks like 2 legs back. Big leg up and 2 legs back. I can put the lower time frame on the second one, but I've designed it so alarm 1 is more of emergency. Yeah. Let's just have a look at it. Yeah, see what I sort of think is an alarm for 5 minutes, just to let you know. And then if you do forget, you've got kind of like a backup for 2 minutes. So the first alarm, I can go down to 2 minutes. The second alarm, I can only go to 5, can't I, is the lowest. So I would think the second alarm would be a little bit closer to the time. Does that make sense, or am I not making sense? There is a higher low there. But I think there's a good chance that comes up there. So I think it'll still work the same, won't it? I've got the 5 minute one as the blue one and the 2 minute one as because the lowest I can go there is 5 minutes for the second alarm, you know what I mean? But I think it should still work. See, what I tend to do is set my first alarm at, say, 5 minutes and my second alarm at 2 minutes, like a red flash in 2 minutes. But I think it'd still work out the same, won't it? Just because it's called 1 and 2, I don't necessarily think they go in order, do they? 1 first, then 2. Is it more about the time? Is alarm 1 is 3 minutes, alarm 2 is 12. Right, so alarm 2 will go first, won't it? Yeah, alarm 2 will go first, then at 5 minutes, and alarm 1 will go at 2 minutes. I'd rather have that final, just in case I forget, you know, that final one, kind of 2 minutes. So that's the type of trade I would like. That big move up and a nice correction with a strong move up there. So this looks like, just in case we get a break and a new low, but that to me just looks like a bigger correction, doesn't it? We had that big move up, 2 attempts to push, and this is moving up. The only difference is the colours. Yeah, it doesn't matter me about colour, as long as I kind of get the last 2 minutes before sort of panic stations, you know what I mean? See if we can get a second entry here to push up again. My only concern is there ends up being something slightly larger, but that to me, just at a quick glance, looks like a move up with 2 attempts to push lower and a push above that EMA. There is kind of a failure there actually, which is trapping some shorts. I don't think that would be a terrible trade, but I'm just going to sit tight a minute. I prefer like maybe a retest or a second entry. So that's where the order would have been. That's where the stop would have been. So is it just testing this line? If we can get a bouncy and a higher lower, I may have a go at that, but what I don't want to do is end up going long into a possible. That actually could be. That's why I didn't take it. Just, you don't know whether it's going to push up a little bit and come down and end up being a bigger. See, that's still intact. Searching for a new extreme. Depends how you've got that. We may have had a small break there and already a new low, but to me it just looks like 2 legs. We've got a leg down, 2 legs up and a leg down. But I didn't take it because the bar was big and it had a bit of a wick. But it did work for whatever amount of points. Certainly would have worked for 3 points. But I'd be interested in seeing if it hits that. So it's retesting that. So if we can get a push up above this and maybe a higher low. We could get a leg and a leg. See if it hits that. second though, isn't it? I think. I can't see. Yeah, I'm going to say I can't see it come all the way down and not take that out. So, measured leg made. Question for you guys. Any of you guys trade your own personal account as well as your prop firm accounts? Now, I've just put a little bit of money in my Ninja Trader account. Not a lot, but just to start. I'm just going to start trading 1, maybe 2 micros. Just to slowly start to build. Now, I'm assuming I have to pay for live data. I'm assuming I don't lose the data on Rhythmic or use the data on Rhythmic, do I? I've never traded it with a prop firm before, my own account. So I just wanted to slowly just start to build it. So, a couple of attempts along that bottom big bearish bar. I'm guessing that will probably come down, but it's a bit big for me. I'm guessing we may get a second leg down. Live data is only $4. Make sure you filter it. You filter it for the market you use. So just for CME, isn't it? Yeah, I did have a look on my. Like dashboard. Yeah, I believe it was. I did it a little bit. I think you have to subscribe. Okay, so that's fine. It is only $4, isn't it? All I need is the ES, isn't it? Which I think is just comes under CME, I think, doesn't it? Do you know something? Thinking about this, we've had a break. 2 attempts to push higher. We couldn't get there, and this thing is reversing, I think, now, isn't it? So that's kind of what I'm seeing. So I don't think that was actually a terrible trade. We had 2 little pushes and bounced that line, and then it dropped. I was just a bit concerned because we'd broken out of here, whether it was going to push back. So how do I, if I'm trading like I am now, how do I make that one account trade micros? Anybody know that? I'm assuming I can copy trade it with all my others. All I want to do is just do 1 or 2 micros just to slowly get a taste of it. I only trade my personal account. PT style. All right, got you. Surprised if this doesn't take out the lows. Yeah. I think they're probably a couple of legs down there. I just wanted to make a start. I think ideally, I don't want to completely rely on prop firms because you never know. Ah, there we go. Superb. That did what it needed to do. So there's the first 5 minutes. So I should have the red one 2 minutes before red being emergency time to. You can cross over replicanter. Okay, brilliant. And it trades the same chart, but obviously 110 for the size and Q is falling. Yeah, this looks like a channel up with a break and like a couple of pushes up. And then seem to reverse, and see how it's bouncing off that. Just amazes me sometimes how accurate these things are. Tesla is Tesla diving. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know how I'd feel about having Tesla shares at the moment with all the stuff that's going on. What with Canada and all that. You can do chart overlay. I think found a Facebook group a while ago, works perfectly, and you don't have to rely on other software. Tesla's down to today. Is it really? Crikey. Yeah, when I first started to trade, I think what did I do? I did about a month of Pats. Then I put, I think, about $3,000 on my own money and lost it in about 2 weeks. And then I think, excuse me, I put about another 2,000 over the next couple of months and lost all that as well. So it's been a while since I've done any type of trading on my account, on my live account. But all I've done is just stuck $500 in, and I'm just going to trade 1 micro, maybe 2 micro. I need $50 per micro, so if I got $500, okay, that's flashed again. Does it? Why is that flashed twice? Have a look at that. So the blue one was 2, so I had that at 5 minutes, and it's just flashed again. Not that that's a bad thing. So that's flashed again, so that's okay. We'll see what happens. That just kind of gives me the reminder that the news is coming up, and that tells me we got 2 minutes now. Let go. Not sure why that happens. Maybe a bug. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. Even if it happens every minute or so, but it's so easy to forget. I've done it. So yeah. But yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, kind of get your hands off your mouse type thing, and let it sort itself out. Oh no, it's gone red. What's that? 2 minutes. That perfect. So that's done perfect. So 2 minutes now. So let's get my hands off my mouse. I'm actually put an order in for a payment for $1,800 that I'm still waiting on. I put it in last night, I think. So I've been taking little bits here or there. So what I'm going to do for March, it just gets a bit complicated. It just gets a bit little bits here or there. So what I'm going to do is March is just let them ride. And then the last week, I'll just go through them and see what I could take a payment for, and just take a bit out of each, I think. Otherwise, it gets confused. Have I done 8 days on one? 8 days? You've got to kind of keep track of it. It's just a bit complicated. So I'll just let March ride, and then the last week, I think I'll have a look at everything. Still showing there's an account there. Nothing's live here, but it's still showing. So what I'm going to do is just disconnect that and then reconnect it. I don't know why it does that. Excuse me a sec. So yeah, it's disappeared. There's a bug in the alarm. Mine was triggered now. We'll check it later. I don't know how you do that, mate. Is it difficult to learn to do, is it? I'd love to have a go at something like that. I did a little bit about 15 years ago, but I can't remember a thing about it, to be honest with you. But I'd love to learn to do a bit of programming or coding or whatever they call it. Code is about 2150, is it really? Anyhow, 2,150 lines. Yeah, so a lot of work. It doesn't seem like it'd be a lot of work, does it? But it obviously is. Wow, this thing's on the way, isn't it? Let me have a look. I've got a step channel starting it on your chart. I'll have a look in a sec, mate. I'm wondering if I'm getting something like that. We've already passed that. Starting at 1452 on mine. I'm assuming you got something like that, have you? Mind you, if you've got that, that's overshot now. Wow, this thing's starting to look really strong, isn't it? It's hard to. It's the trouble is, if you don't get this right, you can get yourself into trouble. So there's. I'm not sure about that. We've got like sections, haven't we? Trouble is, I think I have to look at that as an overshoot, which means I'm going to avoid that first short just in case. So Thomas has got that with us. Yeah, he's wrote overshoot on it. I think you have to sort of. I mean, there may be something else down there, and it may not be. But if I think it is, I think you avoid that second entry, and there's a second entry there, and that to me looks like it's going to push up, make a second leg. So I'll be amazed if it doesn't tick above there. So we channel push up to attempt to go lower. It has. It's triggered it. Look at that, and that's coming down. Will it hold? Yeah, so channel break. I mean, it is a second entry short, but it's a bit stacked. So that looks like a correction. So because of that possible overshoot, I'd stay out of something like that. I wouldn't take it anyway, although it's a second entry. It's clearly stacked up. I'd like to see a bit of a correction there. I mean, that is pretty bearish, isn't it? There's no arguing about that. When was this? This was about 30 minutes ago, wasn't it? Where are we now? Yeah, 35 minutes ago. We've dropped 75 points in 35 minutes. I mean, that's pretty substantial, isn't it? News has come and gone, so we don't have to worry about that. I mean, that is pretty bearish. more alarms, send me a message and I might be in the country. Impact filter. Okay, I'll let you know, bud. I'm done for the day. Yeah, you take it easy, mate. Let me just have a look at that daily, see what that's showing us. Okay, so that's the daily. Now we've got a push down with a little bit of a pullback. It does look like we're possibly going down to this area, which means this could go down some more. We've had that push down. We've had like a small pullback, haven't we? This thing looks like it may be pushing down now. So I'm assuming if this is ranging, there's a chance it's going to come down to at least here somewhere. So I would expect, I mean, that is pretty bearish and overshoot, so I still would expect this to come down, but because it's such a big move down, I'd expect a bit more than just that. So I prefer something like that, I would. So, where is this thing going? I'm assuming we got a leg up with a couple of legs back and another leg up. That's what I'd be looking at. So a little micro break, new low. I'm guessing this is our second leg up. I'd have preferred it to come out a little bit further on this second leg. But I don't think you can get confused with that as a channel. It's going up too steep for a channel, I think, really. It could be. But I would say I'm just looking at two legs, really. I mean, we all know that an overshoot obviously can send it in a reversal. So that's not on my mind just yet. So if this is going to turn down, this is kind of where I'd expect it to happen. Actually pushed up really strong through that overnight. In fact, that measured leg type thing there actually worked out at a good place, being the overnight lows, but that thing just sliced straight through it like it wasn't playing a part. So is that 50% level? So let's see what happens here. Another little channel with a break and a new high. So mind you, we've kind of got two legs, haven't we? So every time we get a bearish bar, it's triggered it, stopped it out. We've got another one there. It's triggered it. I mean, is this reversing? Is it? Okay, let's see what happens here. Still around about that 50% mark at the moment. So depends how you got that small break and a high, a new high there. Well, I still think there's a good chance this is going to come down, test these lows, but trouble is, the bigger these channels down, excuse me, sir. The bigger these channels down, the more it just messes around before it, it finds its way down. That's if it does, of course. Usually just messes and then eventually finds its way, so you can get trapped so many times before you finally find a way down. So, two little legs down, push up new extreme, depending on how you got that. I don't know whether there's anything larger there. I don't think there is. From this bit, there may be. But not at the moment. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Okay, we're getting a little bit of sideways stuff here now. So is this, are we finally going to start to move down? Okay, so second entry long there. I wouldn't take it. I think that may be a trap. I just don't like what's going on unless there's some kind of wider channel, but we've had a break. Well, it's worked. I can't find something that looks like a channel. That to me looks more like a range. So going along there is, it worked. Wow, look at that. So 2 legs down. By the count, it wasn't technically, but it's as good as 2 legs down. Now, the trouble is, when it's going sideways after such a big move down, I'm a bit inclined to stay out of that just in case it triggers you and comes down, because we've had a break and a new extreme already. So this doesn't look to me like it's going to come down. This is a reversal. This is now, I think. So we've pushed up. I mean, we're back up here now. So I'm going to put that like that, I think. I don't think there's a larger one there. See, if I thought this was bullish, that's the type of trade I'd have a go at. It's actually a really nice setup. The trouble is, at the moment, when we have a break in a new extreme, we got kind of 2 little legs down and a new extreme. I mean, it took off, didn't it? I mean, look at that. I mean, proper took off. So if you'd have took that one about 2 minutes ago, that's 20 points straight up. I mean, the setup's lovely, but the context for me, we got a little break and a new extreme. So when it's doing this, you just don't know. There's a good chance something, when it looks like this, I've noticed it, sometimes it'll just drop and then we'll get that kind of move down. But it's a shame, really. Did anybody take that on? Marco just said many entered on that long. Wonder what they see that we don't. I mean, it clearly worked, didn't it? Trouble is, when it's going sideways like that after a break, I'd really have to be cautious about that. I am going to start learning from you. Patience. In fact, patience used to be my worst asset by a mile. I mean, look back at some of my older videos, and I used to just jump in. I always thought patience was the one thing that I'd always struggle with. It works really well for me at the moment. I think sort of patience does tend to come in time, and I think the more money you throw away, the more you lose. I think it just naturally comes. I like to think it does. My discipline and patience are okay. If I was to say I had any weaknesses at the moment, I can still be a little bit impulsive, but that is going. On the very odd occasion, if I like a trade, I just dive for that buy or sell button. Now, I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. But what I will say, if I'm honest, I would say 8.5 to 9 times out of 10 I do that. The trade does work. So perhaps it's a case of I love this trade. I want in on it. So I was tempted to get rid of it. But as I say, 8.5 to 9 times out of 10, I think it's rare I take a trade where I just jump in without, opening the normal order kind of procedure, that it doesn't work, which is why I've kind of left it. So it, I think you've got to look at, okay, yes, you do it, but does it work for you? And the answer is yes, it does at the moment. That's why you started getting paid regularly. Yeah, it's taken 4 years of losing money, though. I'm lucky in a way because, I've had this affiliate money and that more or less has paid for Apex. But if I'm honest, I bet I've put about $35,000 into Apex. If not, probably a little bit more. I did tally it all up just before Christmas, and I think it was about 34,000 total, something like that. Now, I actually feel not terrible at that because I know Nutty put 40-odd thousand in last year, although he earned 200,000, so I've got to throw that in the mix. But the year before, he put in 42, 44,000 and never earned a penny. So I'm lucky that I've had the affiliate money to kind of pay for my expenses. It hasn't paid for all of them, but it's paid for most of them. Now, not everyone is lucky enough to have that. So, I appreciate you guys using my code, and it has. Whether I'd have been able to do it, I doubtful. So I'm lucky there that I've had that, and it's able to cover my learning costs, if you want, for want of a better word. So, if you guys are struggling, you're struggling to afford it, consider streaming. I've got no issues with directing people to you. I'm not one of a lot of these. I remember once I was on someone's channel, I mentioned something about something, and the guy crucified me. I don't want any advertising on my chart. I make the money, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really like that. I appreciate the money, I do, but if I thought Dan started live streaming, I'd tell you to stop watching me and go and watch him, even if that meant I did a little bit less in affiliates, because I'd be doing it myself. So I don't mind if anybody, if anybody wanted to start streaming, I'd happily put, pass people on to you. It's helped me and it's been good to me. I trade Pats on A&Q. Anybody interested in watching me trade? Yes, mate. I'd have you on a separate screen. Absolutely. Set it up, sort it out. If you want any help or advice on how to set things up, it's actually pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. I'll happily pass people on to you, mate. Happily. I think it's all about helping each other. I'm not one of ththese people that as soon as I see anything that mentions anybody else, I delete the comment. And I don't want to be like that. Trading. You guys have been here and you've supported me and you've used me code, so you've helped me. So, sometimes it's time to pass it on and help other people. So if you want to start streaming, John, let me know. If you want any help on setting OBS up or anything like that, I'll happily help you out, mate. Happily. In fact, it wouldn't be a bad thing having a couple of streams. Sometimes when I used to stream, I used to have someone else on. Yeah. Do it, mate. Do it. Tone. I don't think he does it yet, Tone. I think you're on about doing it, aren't you? But yeah, sometimes when I started, I'd have other people on. I'd be keeping an eye on someone else. Who did I used to watch? I can't remember who it was now. I can't remember who it was. This is looking like a nice correction here. You don't have a trading channel. Yeah, it's not difficult to set it up, mate. It's not difficult. But yeah, if you want any help setting it up, let me know. Okay, so I kind of like this correction. So there is a little bit of support there. But if we can get a push up for that EMA, I wouldn't mind having a go at that. It's not really difficult, to be honest with you. Making videos is a pain in the arse, why I don't do it. But streaming's dead easy. the picture might get a bit funky, but I just have that really. So all I do is click stop streaming, start streaming. That's pretty it. There's not much to it, to be honest with you. Setting it all up, getting the settings right, and getting all this stuff on is a bit fiddly and takes a bit of time, but it's much easier to stream than it is making videos is a ball ache. I've done very little of it because it just doesn't really interest me. Occasionally I made maybe one or two if I've just heard about something or I've wanted to thank anybody or something like that on the odd occasion. So we got a little micro channel there with a break and what looks like a new low. You can change the settings on OBS so that it doesn't do that. What goes fun? Yeah, it only does it if I bring it in here, but when I'm looking at it now, it's fine. But yeah, if I bring it into the main screen, you get this kind of tunnel vision stuff, don't you? I don't notice it because as soon as I take it off here, yeah, as you can see now, it changes, my normal stream. But even if you've got no interest in streaming, OBS is free. Even download it and just, if you look here, there's a record button as well. Even just records your chart. It's useful, so you can go back and have a look, and maybe even, I don't know, talk to yourself for a mic or something. You can see how you were thinking. When you take a trade or something. It's a useful tool to have, actually. I was advising people to do it when we were having those problems with Rhythmic, so at least then you've got some sort of visual proof that you haven't done anything wrong, and that Rhythmic's a problem. Don't stream the display. Stream the capture for the window. It doesn't mess. I got you. So let's see what happens here. You know what? I wonder. No, maybe not. Well, this price action isn't as predictable as it is sometimes. I wonder if has anybody got a larger channel there? Have a larger channel going up there. It's funny you should say that, but I've just looked at that and he's got an overshoot, so that might be why. We've only really touched twice there, so technically it wouldn't really qualify for a channel, would it? Yeah. So, yeah, overshoot. Is this coming down, or we just add 2 legs back and this is a dropout? You have it as a 2-tiered channel. Have you got it something different than that, have you? I don't know what I think about that. Let me have a look. You've got it as that, have you? Yeah, okay. So as we know, sometimes when you get an overshoot, it can result in a reversal. You did it there. Whether you consider this a reversal, I think you probably would actually. It's pulled back 3/4 of it, isn't it? It's gone a lot more than, whether you'd have it there or not, in which case we're still around that 70%, aren't we? So definitely an overshoot. Yeah, Thomas Wade's got it as an overshoot. Does anybody else? I can't see one of Dan's channels for a while. Just going to put that there for the overnight lows, just to see if this... So, channel with a small break. 1, 2 pushes down to a new low. Just going to put that there. Oh, look at that. That's tempting. If this thing is reversing, that's kind of a nice bar, 2 legs up. I'd expect that to work well if it is reversing. It's 23 ticks though. Something normal, yeah. Kind of a hidden second entry short there. Trouble is, there may be a channel down, but this thing looks like it's pushing up to me. So let's just assume we've had that. And a break and a push up. Fortunately, there wasn't even a higher low there. And I'd have preferred that bearish bar to trigger, really. But it is kind of pushing up, isn't it? That failed. Yeah. The trouble is, there may be a channel down there, but it's a maybe. So there may be an overshoot or it may be a channel. You know, I put these on there with maybes. I mean, if we ended up tripping a bull and this thing come down, then I'd say if that came down from there, then there's a possibility this has caused a reversal. But I wouldn't get into a long gear at the moment because of, you know, the channel. Even though there's an overshoot, you'll always hear Thomas Wade talking about he still wants a new extreme, even with an overshoot. And we had an overshoot of that channel and that thing happened. That doesn't strike me as just a pullback. That's more or less a reversal, isn't it? And an overshoot's created a bigger correction and now we're pushing up strong. So I think there's as good as any chance we're going to, you know, hit these levels again. So so push up strong above that EMA. So a second entry short here, I think would be better. Chris, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Looking for a second leg down here. Yeah, it's possible. The trouble is, I would consider that not an overshoot, and I'll tell you a reason why. It's only touched the top once, so is that right? Or is that right? If we've touched 2, 3 or 4 times and then it pushes, I'd say yeah. Doesn't mean I'd want to jump straight into a trade here unless I see something really good. But that's the trouble. If it's only touched once, so is that the top of the channel? Or is it that? You know what I mean? So if we get a bullish bar here, I may look for a higher low. I'm just not going to take that at the moment because we pushed up to this high. This market's not doing its normal thing today. It's a little bit unpredictable. And with this overshoot, we just may mean we might have a correction a couple of legs before it pushes up. Yeah, if we've touched a bunch of times, then I'd say yeah, but just once, it could be either or of those, couldn't it? Okay, so 2 legs back. Let's see where this goes. Get a higher low here. So there's a possible long failure there. I'm looking for a higher low. Trouble is, we could get 2 legs. See how this works.
Order submitted.
It's rather large. No good. Trouble is, it's kind of an inside bar there. Or does Marco call it a double? Not Marco. Does what's it call it? A double bar entry? I don't think it's a terrible trade. 13 ticks. I'm surprised when that pushed up, it looked like it was going up and it turned quickly. So there's something about this that's making me a bit nervous. It has worked. Yeah, see, I haven't got it as a matching low. That one is slightly higher, so it's an inside bar. If you look like that, this kind of rules. Mind you, I don't know. There's something about this I'm a bit nervous about. And I'll tell you why. We had that trigger below that bearish bar, push right up strong, and then dropped. And that made me a bit nervous. So there's something about this that I'm kind of staying out of. I'm glad I've stayed out of that. Yeah, rightly so. It's a bit, I'm glad I did that because that bar there pushed up like it was going to go higher and all of a sudden turned straight back down. So straight away, that's an inside bar and that made me nervous. So, well, actually it went up more than you think, actually. That ATR is a bit up today, so let's put that there. So you'd have got, I think you'd have squeezed 2.5 points out of that. More than I thought, actually. But that wouldn't have worked for me, so I'm glad I stayed out of that. Yeah, that's true. 2 legs back, or even that one and that one after that big overshoot. But that one, I suppose, really, 1, it's an inside bar, 2, it's a bit congested there. Excuse me a sec. Two legs back. I prefer that second leg to come a bit lower. There is a bit of support there, so it's just something about this. It's just making me a bit nervous. So let's see if that holds. We haven't made a new low from this one, to be honest with you, so might not make a difference. So we got a little channel there with 2 legs up, 1 leg down. This will be the second leg down to break those lows. So if we can get a second leg or a second entry long off there, I don't think that would be bad, but I want it to come down a bit lower if it does. It might not. Okay, so that worked. As I say, I don't think it was terrible. My only slight concern there, this lower leg here, we got a channel down with 2 legs up and a strong push down with a pullback. The trouble is it could pull back, trigger above and come down. So 2 little legs down, 2 legs up. We could have had a leg and a leg down. Close this measured move, but it didn't. It just turned up. So I'm glad I stayed out of that. Because it is a bit, you never know whether we're going to get that second leg down. So, but that's fine. Green bar, yeah, it could be. I was just looking left there. It's a bit higher than that, isn't it? Yeah, channel down. A lot of the times it will trigger bars and then come down and stop them out. But you'd have got 2.5 points off that one. But one, it's an inside bar, so I can't take it. That one, when that pushed up really strong and bullish, I thought that's coming up then, but all of a sudden it dropped. So I stayed out of this. I wouldn't have taken it. It's an inside bar anyway, but it did go up for 2.5 points. But then I still expected a leg down and then a second leg down. So 2 legs down, 2 legs up, 2 legs down, and 2 bigger legs with the overall picture. I'd have preferred this to come down a bit lower. That bar there for me was a bit floating in the middle of this area here, so it could have been triggered for that second leg down. So sometimes they'll just work anyway, but and then eventually we had our 2 little legs up. So is there going to be any type of a wider channel up here, or is it a bit early? It's a bit early, I think. Can't take that. It's congested there. It may trigger you and give us a leg and a leg. So, leg and a leg. Why can I not highlight that? That will be better. Leg down, 2 legs up, leg down. There is a hidden second entry long, but same again, that bar is floating in the middle of this. So it's a lever, unfortunately for me, especially now. I say without a doubt that's going to get stopped out, and that one there, and then we may get that full leg. So channel with a break, new low, stop that out, and stop that out. I still like to come a bit lower. So we've had this break, see, and we've made 2 attempts to push higher, so it could come quite a bit lower. So that'll attract some traders, no doubt about it. It's just, the trouble is, you go along here, it's floating right in the middle of this. Okay, excuse me. So channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. We're at the lows now, so I'm still avoiding a long trade at the moment because we had a break and we did have 2 attempts to push up. So this thing could now come down a bit lower. Maybe there's some support here, or maybe it's reversing. But it's the triple test, but chicken. Yeah, it's just getting a little bit choppy, and it's just about readable. 2 legs down, 2 legs up, 2 legs down. But that's pushed a little bit lower than I was expecting. So I think now it's likely going to come down to this area. It may even come down a bit further. To partial evals, how many contracts do you trade? I trade with 10, mate. The trouble is, I probably have a 50% win rate, so we probably blow 50% of them. But I always trade them on the NQ. I had quite a bit of fortune last night. Out of the, I think I took 4 and passed 3 in a row. So, yeah, it depends. I used to trade them a bit silly, but I do have a little bit of a method now. But on the NQ, if I show you, you've got very little space, but it is risky, so do be prepared to throw some away. But I just wanted to get these accounts up. The trouble is, when you're trading part PA, part evaluation, and you're swapping and changing and adjusting everything, there's a potential for making a cock up. And I've done that before, traded the wrong account. But if I was trading the NQ, 10 contracts, 64 ticks is all you need of a move, which is about the size of the average bar. So it's less than that. So there's 64 ticks. So say there, that's less than the size of 1 bar. And it's a lot easier to capture that amount of movement than on the ES. If you do it on the ES, it's a completely different ball game. So 6 1/4 points on the ES, you got to go. Which is a lot bigger. If we take an average bar, say the red one, 6 1/4 points, you got to get down there, which is the equivalent of 1 1/2 bar, whereas the NQ is only half a bar. So you got more chance of passing it. That's my opinion of it anyway. You know, everyone else might have a slightly different thing, but I like the fact of having 20 accounts, because as long as I keep these and I don't do anything stupid, I shouldn't theoretically have to pay Apex any more money. So hopefully it'd be nice to have what I'm going to consider as dry March, and that doesn't mean I won't be drinking. I'll still be having my whiskey, but if I can go through March without paying Apex a penny, that would be nice. And you haven't got to do. I've got 3 points on 1 contract. Bearing in mind, I didn't trade one of my accounts this morning because I'm waiting for a payment. But that would have been $2,900 on 1 trade, 1 contract. So if you do that 3 times a week, it's $9,000 going into your account. You know what I mean? In fact, more than that. You do that a couple of times a week, that's over $10,000, $12,000. So it's a huge amount for not a lot of risk, really. You have 2 PAs, may go for more. Evals, waiting for 90% off. Yeah, I can't remember the last time we had a 90. We don't often, but what I'll say to you guys is, if you're still blowing accounts, I wouldn't get a lot, because it's a horrible, crippling feeling when you're losing a load. So I think the time to grow is when you can start getting a few payments here or there. And, you know what I mean? And I know it may seem hypocritical because I'm pushing 20 now, but the only reason I decided to go for 20 because I've dropped my risk by half, so it's nowhere near as stressful. And the more stress, the more chance you've got of having that psychological day where something just changes and you do something stupid. But I still have that guardian angel trader set to 2 losses, so even if that day did happen, my losses would be minimal and they wouldn't be enough to damage. The only issue I have with Bullanox is you can't copy trade with other accounts, with other prop firms. Why they do that, I don't know. I think it's idiotic, I think. Whereas I can trade 20 of these, I can trade 5 or 10, however many take profit trader. But they won't let you trade them with other prop firms. I don't know why, but it's lame. But if you are just after an evaluation to have a go at, I'd say, yeah, look for as cheap as possible, because learning to trade is about keeping control of them pennies, because it's so easy for it to get out of hand. You know, when I started trading, I was paying $125 per one with U profit. It's crazy. So yeah, if you want a taste of just what it's like to feel an evaluation, find the cheapest possible one you can have and just use that. The master counts are 148 activation. Are they really? I've never tried Bullanox. I think I've added I started with Earn to Trade was the first one, and then I went to UProfit, and then I moved to Apex. But I have had an account. One account would take Profit Trade, and maybe half a dozen or so with My Funny Futures. I like. It's about $97. If you pay through ACH, you save 5%, so it's about $87. But there's no PA fee, so that's all you pay. Now that's okay if you think you're going to pass it, but if you blow it like an evaluation, it can get expensive. So if you're trying to, you know, if you've got 20 accounts in, you're trying to top your PA accounts up, then I'd suggest My Funny Futures. But, you know, I hear really good things about Take Profit Trader, but they're $85. That's just for the evaluation, and then you've got to pay $130, whatever it is, for the PA. So it's getting rather pricey. And you do have to think about, you know, we're not all Patrick Wheeland and we can afford to pay 5 lots of $750 to get 5 150 Traderify accounts. When you're earning the sort of money he earns, you can afford to buy them like that. But I certainly can't. So we got this channel up, leg down, back to overnight lows. Yeah, I've got that marked here. But this has been a bit unpredictable today. It's not. It is really moving. It's just not being as predictable as I'd liked. So yeah, if you are newish to trading and you want to go down that, don't get me wrong, prop firms are they've changed the world of trading. Because the only way you can learn to trade is by slowly manipulating that mindset, and the only way you do that is to have risk, and unfortunately risk comes with expense. And if you were risking your own account, you could lose an absolute fortune. But with the era of prop firms, it makes it so much more accessible to everybody. You know, everyone with a computer in the house now can learn to trade, really. So there's great potential there. But unfortunately, you can't learn to trade without losing money. There's no way unless you're employed by, by somebody. So I'm still not of the opinion that there's a break here with 2 pushes down. Launch off the overnight lows. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, isn't that strange about what's the name of the actor? Found dead with his wife and their dog. How strange is that? He's one of my favourite actors. He is. Gene Hackman. Always been one of my favourites. In fact, I was watching 95. I know, what a great age. I was watching, was it Bat 21 a couple of weeks ago? I liked him in one of my favourite films is Runaway Jury. If you've never seen Runaway Jury, watch it. It's brilliant. And the one in the Navy as well with Denzel Washington. Screaming Gene Hackman. He's one of the classic actors around. There's nothing he kind of can't do, but just true story. Was it a true story? Was it? I didn't realise that. And is it The Quick and the Dead? He's in that as well, the Western. With a young Leonardo DiCaprio. I liked him. I think people like him, Denzel Washington, just fantastic actors. The Heist, yeah, that's it. And of course, if you're as old as me, the original Superman. I remember going to see it in York when I was about 5 or 6. I think it was about 1977, something like that. The original Superman. I remember going to the cinema to see it. The Unforgiven. Yeah, great film that is. That was the one with is that the one with Russell Crowe in it as well? I think he's in there, isn't he? Great, brilliant actor. Seen so many great films. But that Runaway Jury, that's one of my favourites. That is. Take Profit is more for traders that know what to do. Because the price, yeah, definitely. Yeah, of course. That's. I forgot about that, Karina. They'll. I think, isn't it with your first payment they'll refund you the evaluation? I've forgotten about that. That's a good point, actually. So if you're a trader and you pretty much know, you're going to get there, you'll get that back. I mean, you're still going to pay the 130 for the PA fee, but yeah, that's a good point. That is. I'd forgotten about that. So is this a channel down? The way that's pushed up and pushed strong, I'd say there's a good chance this comes lower. But yeah, it's a good point, that is. Take Profit Trader. I think it's with your first payment they'll refund your evaluation fee, which is about $85, I think, at the moment. And copy trade success, right? So they make money on fees. Maybe March promo, yeah. See, they got a promo at the moment that the evaluation's down to $85. I mean, it's a lot of money, I think. When you look at Apex at the moment, what is it, $33, $35? So it depends. I mean, if they do seem to come over as a reputable company, so I like that. But I think Take Profit Trader and maybe a firm you move to or you add when you can trade and you make a bit of money. But when you're learning to trade, you really want the cheapest possible. So we got a push down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. I think this is probably still going to come down. 85. It is a lot. Yeah, absolutely. When you say, what is Bullanox 90% off? What's that? 20 quid? Less than that? $20? Less than that? So, is this going to go down? I would have said so. It's very tempting, that. 12 ticks. I'm just not sure what's happening here because of the overnight lows. We're bouncing off. It hasn't triggered anyway, fortunately. Trouble is, when you do that, it can mess your picture up. I think you've got to keep in mind today, this thing's been a little bit unpredictable. I mean, it's struggling to get up, so I think there's a good chance it's going to come down. But we have had that strong move off of the overnight lows. So my gut feeling is this is a channel with a break. So I think we're struggling to get up. So I think really the area of least resistance is down, I think. But it is flickering around a bit, so... but there may be a larger channel, which means it could come up a bit further. That actually doesn't look that bad. But with this big move up, I was looking for 2 legs back with a strong move up. But I was looking for that here, but then it just kept on going. So it's not playing the game there. There is a lower high there. There's going to be some longs trapped there, so I don't think that's a terrible... I'm going to avoid it because it's a down and across type of scenario, and it is a bit congested, so it hasn't triggered again, so it's just a bit unpredictable here. So channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. See that NQ, to me, I've still got that on there. We got that push down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. Possible 2nd entry short here. In fact, I must switch that back over. So big bearish bar there, it's triggered it, that's pushing up. So looks like it's working though. Yeah, I think there's a good chance this comes down. It's the trouble is it's stacking up now, so it's starting to get a little bit choppy here. So I'd stay out of everything here personally. I thought that was a good way down. I still think it may do, but the way this is pushing, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets taken out. It's getting a bit congested here. There you go. So if you'd have gotten to that bearish bar there, look, where's that going now? Yeah. So, excuse me just a sec. Okay, so push up, big bearish bar, crossed over, push straight back up. So channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. Yeah, it's getting unpredictable now, isn't it? It's getting a bit choppy. Let's just clean this chart up a bit. Channel break, 2 pushes to a new high. Let's see how it reacts to this line here. Well, we've had a reaction to there, haven't we? Trouble is, we're at the bottom here and here. We couldn't quite get down here, so I'd probably tend to avoid this first one. It is kind of a break with kind of 2 pushes up, but this market's a bit unpredictable at the moment. So I'd rather wait for a lower high or something. Or better, a failure trap in longs. Small risk that, but I'm still staying out. Just purely because we couldn't get down to the bottom here, so you can have short stuck in there. If you bought that, triggered you straight up, stop you out. Where's that going there? Yeah, it's just because of this. If we were nicely at the bottom of this channel, then I'd start to pay more attention to it. But if this continues up, I'd say this is likely 2 legs down and then a move up. So if we go any higher than that, it looks just more like 2 legs down. It's kind of like a bull flag, isn't it? It's definitely a bull flag. So I'd say this has got more chance of going up. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that. So I'm thinking bullish at the moment. We've got a close bounce of the overnight lows, plus 2 more bounces, and off we go. So there's going to be stops there and stops up here. There's probably going to be a load along there. Yeah, it's so easy to assume things, isn't it? That price is going to do a certain thing. I used to do it a lot now. I try now at Whale and Bull Flag. Yeah, it does kind of look like it, doesn't it? For me, I think it's the leg up and the 2 attempts to push lower. It's a bit scrappy looking, but you can clearly see leg and a leg, can't you? And then obviously a move up. Does he actually show him in any of his trades or not? I don't think he does he? I have watched little bits, but just snippets here or there, but I can't see where he shows any of his trades. It's a bit unusual. So I expect a ton of stops here, so I expect a reasonable size push if we can start getting across a lot of this. Or it could be a break. 1 attempt to go higher. 2nd attempt to go higher and down. I wouldn't put anything past this, but I think there's a good chance these stops will get eaten up with a quick move. Okay, so that's eating up those, I think. Whether their stops are going to be up here, maybe, I don't know. He's unwatchable. He's like watching myself. Yeah, he's a bit of a wild one, isn't he? To be honest with you, he's quite loud and flash and all that sort of stuff. Not my type of person generally, but when you hear him just talking, I watched him when he was interviewing Nutty, and he came over as actually, when you get him away from the flash side and the cars and the cameras and all that, it comes over as someone you can have a nice chat with, actually. A Florida manner. They tend to be like that, do they? But yeah, when he was chatting with Nutty, I quite enjoyed watching the interview because he calmed right down and he was just chit-chatting. So I think if you had a beer with him by himself, I think you'd have a nice chat with him, I think. Nutty's another nice guy. I got a lot of time for him. I chat with him once in a while. So I think this is going to push it a little bit higher, certainly up to this, I think. That overshoot, I think, is just created what looks like just a bigger kind of correction than a push-up. Me and Karina are going to go out once. If you're ever in the UK, aren't we? We're going to go out and I'll take you around some of the... I'll take you out and give you some a real drink. Or give you a lesson in single malt. We're going to paint the town, me and Karina, if she comes over the UK again. Going to get that launch in a minute, are we? Okay, so that short got eaten up. I thought it would do. So that overshoot just looks like it's given us a correction. And then eventually up it's gone. Went to get long. You did. It looks like it's going up, doesn't it? Oh. What time is it? 4:20. See, after that overshoot, if it gets above there, I expect a reasonable size push. Let's see if it does, of course. So we got a leg up there with a correction. So I would have suggested that we'll likely get another leg up, which would take us up to about there. Which is kind of up here, isn't it? So it does look like a leg and a leg down, a leg with a correction and another leg. I haven't tilted this week. Good on you, mate. Incidentally, if anybody is going through that on tilt part of learning, consider getting that Guardian Angel Trader. It really does make a massive difference. It's like having someone there. It's like having their great big guy there with a hammer to smack you over the knuckles if you do something stupid. It's great to just get you away from it. you know, the settings at the moment, if I went into my settings at the moment, if I click on Guardian Angel, what's happened there? If I click on, oh, okay. So if I click on Guardian Angel Trader at the moment, there's my account. So if I click on one, won't let me. It's locked. So I have mine locked from 1:30 to midnight, and then from midnight to 1 p.m. So I have 30 minutes where I can adjust something. But I have this set to 2 losses. So if I take 2 losses now at one point, it will not let me trade. I can't even delete the software. It won't let me do it. So it's a great bit of software that you can set when you're nice and calm, and, you know, before we get into trading, say before we start the trading day, before we incur any possible losses, you're all nice and calm and we make good decisions. But, you know, when things go wrong, that's when we kind of go on tilt. But you set it all before that, and if something does go wrong with you mentally, then at least you physically can't trade. You can set it to 1 loss. I mean, if you are struggling, I'd set it to 1 loss. I had it set to 1 loss when I was trading 2 contracts. The only reason I've allowed myself 2 losses now is because I've dropped my contract to 1, because I found I was getting nervous of taking trades because I didn't want to have my sort of trading finished for the day. But if you are struggling with it, it is a fantastic bit of software. It will save you a ton of money, I assure you. And it forces you to get out of a bad habit. Because when you have that going on tilt thing, it's a horrible feeling. Horrible, sickening feeling. You do feel like an addict that just can't get it. You know, he's doing everything he can to get his fix. So I'm looking for something like this. I wouldn't get in long there. A lot of times it'll trigger them and then stop them out. So I'd suggest that's going to get stopped out. It may not actually. We've got the open. Is it the open here? So may act as a bit of support, but I wouldn't want to take that trade. Yeah, we have got the open there. That might go in its favour a bit. Yeah, so that's gone now. So there's our first leg down with a break and a new extreme. I still think there's a good chance we're going to push higher. Does look like a correction now. Obviously, once we get close to these levels, I think you're going to get traders taking profits, aren't you? You don't really want to wait till it right on the button. So you take out profits a bit earlier. You guarantee yourself something, which often then gives us a bit of a break or a pullback. That takes us down to about there, I think. Unless this is just ranging now. It could well be. That'd be interesting if it ends up bullish. Okay, see there is a small break there with the new high. So perhaps that's close enough and traders have gone, let's take our profits here. That's definitely coming down, that is. Okay, so this to me looks like it's ranging between more or less here, doesn't it? Wasn't it that last push up? So yeah, so I'd say that looks like it's ranging at the moment. So that's kind of how I'm going to treat it. Excuse me just a sec. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be a quick minute. Second entry long. Although I expect a pullback, I wouldn't be thinking about going long just yet, because if this is a range, there is still some space here. I mean, you could argue that that's the bottom. We're still off the bottom there, so to that big push down, I'd like to see a pullback and then continuation down. I do expect it to get back to here. Well, I'd like to think it will. Depends how you have this. If you've got this as a separate little channel, it's not playing its normal game today. Start of the day, bull side and the bear side. Yeah, it's just a bit unpredictable at the moment. You just don't know whether it's going to bounce there or it's just stopped short for a pullback and then it's going to continue down. Depends how you've got that one. If you've got that as a sort of a separate entity, we've already made a new low, which means it could go up So I got mixed feelings here. Yeah, so obviously the possibility of an overshoot as well. So, yeah, it's hard to say really, isn't it? So there's that bullish bar then, which is triggered, and this looks like it's coming down to stop it out, but it's going sideways, so we could push up, go sideways and push up. But when it falls a little bit shy, I kind of give it a space that it could come down and retest it, or if it is ranging, bounce a little bit closer to the lows than that, really, you know what I mean? In fact, I could adjust this and probably get it closer to fitting. See, if you put it like that, you could say touch there, touch there, touch there. It's just one of those things, really, isn't it? But I wouldn't want to be in that short now, so that looks like it may go up. It's just a bit unpredictable around here at the moment. May trigger that long and then drop, or it could push up for another leg. Could be up, sideways and up. Do you avoid second entry short after the overshoot? I'm not necessarily convinced it is, because it touches there and touches there. Yeah, I wouldn't take a short here, and I wouldn't take a long here, really. If we push down and it gives us a failure, then I may do. But if you think it's an overshoot, I think you're always best to assume it is, because usually after an overshoot, a lot of times it will trigger you and then stop you out. But I've got mixed feelings about this, because we're kind of working there and working here, so it may be a break. Not only that, I always give it a bit of space to the lows if it doesn't reach the bottom. So this to me looks pretty much like it's ranging, but it hasn't reached the bottom. But sometimes it doesn't make a difference. We didn't reach right to the top there, and it started careering down. So I just like to give it a bit of space around here to kind of figure out what it's going to do. See what I mean? This looks all of a sudden bearish now, but there's going to be longs there, isn't there? So, well, this thing looks like it's going to go one way now, doesn't it? But I'm just sitting tight here at the moment. But, well, look at that. So if you thought, oh, we're going down, and you jumped in for a sell position there, the thing's just backtracked. So I'm just giving it a bit of space, and whoever's trading this, I'm going to let them figure it out. See, 1 minute it looks like it's about to tank then, doesn't it? And then all of a sudden we cross over and we're up and above it. If this does push up a bit more, I'd say we're probably on our way up now. We trapped traders there, and they're stopped out. We've had that strong push down and a stronger push up. So we're still having a bit of a battle here, aren't we? But if this does get up a bit higher, then I'd say once it gets above here and a bit higher, I'd say it's probably on its way up then. See, Max says he loves trading ranges, but the thing is, if every time the top's different from the previous one, it's pretty hard to know what to trust. You know about that bear one? Yeah, I wouldn't take a trade here at the moment. I think if you're going to take a short here, you'd be better off waiting for a lower high, because if it's going to trap you, it'll trigger and push up. If you wait for the lower high, I think that's better confirmation we're coming down. I mean, look at that. All of a sudden, see, it's weird, isn't it? We get that big push down and you're thinking this is definitely coming down. And then all of a sudden it pushes straight up. Then you get a massive 25-point red candle coming down here. You know what I mean? It's confusing, which is why really I think you're just better off leaving this alone. But with that, taking out any possible longs, I think now the chance of it coming down is a lot stronger. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty definitive now. I'd say it's certainly going to break these lows. Let's rotate around VWAP, is it? But that is a significant push through the EMA, taking out any stops there and any stops there. So I would now expect this to... That's why I didn't get in long there, because when we didn't quite get down low enough, a lot of times it'll do that, trap longs, and all of a sudden take a dive down to these lows. A large candle was a rejection of... Was it really? So VWAP's about here then, is it? I don't use it. Perhaps I should put it on another chart just out of interest, at least that way. If I was ever going long and it was into it, perhaps I think twice. To the tick. Can you get a VWAP free if you got a lifetime license on NinjaTrader, can you? I might just have it on another chart just out of interest, just to see if I do find it's rejecting a couple of times off it, at least then I might keep me out of a long. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Is it just under VWAP, is it? Where is it? I can't see it, actually. They do, so it'd be worth having it on another chart. Yeah, can't see it here. Would be here, wouldn't it? Order flow VWAP. I have got that somewhere. Oh, we are. Okay. Let's have a look at this. How do I set this? It'll be for my other chart. So does it... Let's just pull that down a bit so you can see it. Settings, isn't it? What the hell do you do with the settings? Let's just apply it and see if it shows. Oh my God, that's not it. Guessing it shouldn't look like that, should it? It's just a line normally, is it? That's almost like, that's kind of like Bollinger Bands almost, that, doesn't it? I might have to readjust that. You just need a center line, nothing to configure. Oh, I see. Right, yeah, of course it bounced off that center line. That's it there, is it? Ah, okay, I'll have to sort that out later. But remove the Sigma bands. Yeah, I suppose if I'm ever deciding to go long here and it's into VWAP, I may think twice. I'm just wondering whether we get a second entry shorter and this comes down some more. I'll sort it out in a minute. There is a failure there. There's trap longs there, isn't there? But now it's pushing up. I'm always extra cautious about taking a trade. You do me a favour, Tony, at some point today, just take a photo of your settings and message me it or something. Can you do that? Is that right? Anytime today, no rush. There's that much stuff on here. I don't know what the hell to do. Okay, so 2 little legs up. I don't think that's a bad trade. It is a bit congested, so I am just sitting tight. Are you on Sierra chart? Okay, it's all right. I'll sort it out. I'll have a play around with it later. So 2 legs down. So it is working, I think, isn't it? So that was the trade there. I think that's worth it for a leg and a leg down. It's probably going to break these lows, which will hit that, I think. Yeah, it's hit that, so that's 3.25, so it would have worked. It's kind of a push down. We got 1, 2 little pushes up. There's going to be some bull bars trapped there, so it is kind of looking like that. The trouble is, unless I'm really sure, I'd rather stay out of it, especially as I've already taken a trade today. I kind of, if I make a bit of profit, I don't like to give it back, so it looks like a leg and a leg, or that's why I wasn't in a hurry to go long here, because we're so far off that bottom. I expect it to come down and at least attempt to so in fact I'll go as far as to get rid of that and just say we got a channel with a break, 2 pushes to a new low. So in fact, what I'm going to do is just trade my newer accounts if I see them. Where's my newer accounts? Just the new 5, which is 5, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. $45. $5, 46, 47, 48, 49. Okay, so let me just see if 5 are
Order submitted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So
Order canceled.
I'm just going to trade my 5. If I do get another setup, I like to stay up, so I'm just going to trade my 5 newer accounts. If something comes up, so channel break, new low. So channel break, 1, 2 pushes to a new low. Okay, so channel break, 2 pushes to a new low. We've got down pretty low there, so I think that's low enough. And as long as there's not some sort of a wider channel there, then I think this may go up. Ah, okay. I've worked out how to do it. Sorted. Sorted. Okay, so I'm sitting tight just at the moment because I like to, if there is something large, I just like to give it that little bit of time just to sort of figure out what it wants to do. If it starts to push, then, but it's pretty much looking range, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, straight down to the overnights there. So if there is a separate channel, we've had a break, and so on and so forth, right down to overnight. So let's see how this reacts. Might not be a terrible buy, that. Let's see if we get a higher low off there. I don't want to just take that first one. Sometimes it can sting you. But if we got this separate one, 2 legs down, so I'm just going to sit tight here. I don't think there's a bigger channel there. No. It just looks like a break and a couple of pushes down. We'll see. I don't want to just take that randomly. I'm not very good at picking tops and bottoms, so I tend to avoid them. There is a possibility we could get a second leg down here, so. Okay, so it's broken that area now, so let's see how it reacts now. See, it could have been an overshoot, pull back, a couple of attempts to push higher, not having none of it, and then down we come. Okay, so that measured leg. So leg and a leg, right down to that measured leg. One more tick. That's close enough. So let me just try this again. Just going to remove that a minute. At the moment, it just looks like 2 legs back. Yeah, it's actually right off that measured leg, isn't it? A perfect measured leg. So you could, I suppose you could probably get in there because of the measured leg and the break out of this range. I didn't like the bar, and I think a higher low would be a bit safer. That was just a bit naff, wasn't it? Right, so I wouldn't take that short. I'd expect that to get stopped out. Now, if this does continue down, perhaps there is something larger, but I'd expect that to go up and stop that out. Leg and a little leg up to here. So if this is going to continue up, this is where I'd expect it to do it. It's just not much room. 2 points, 2.5 points. I'd expect that bar to get stopped out. That short is floating right in the middle of nowhere. A leg and a leg. The trouble is, there's always that possibility this thing could be coming down further. So it didn't trigger anyway. It struggled to get up, didn't it? So I would suggest maybe there is something bigger. Trouble is, we're not getting down to the bottom. See, look at that. Yeah, I'm on the fence here, so I'm just going to sit tight and just see if it can figure itself out. I'm not sure whether this thing's going to push back up or whether it's going to continue down. How long have we been going for now? 2.5 hours. I may finish a bit early today. I've got a new bottle of scotch. Well, actually, it's not scotch. It's a British single malt. I've never had a British single malt before. So I bought that this morning, so I'm going to have one of those in a bit. My taste buds are starting to flicker. In fact, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So good start to the day. It's been a pretty good week for me this week so far. I've done a few trades, haven't I? And the 20 accounts going nice. I haven't traded one of them. I'm still waiting for a payment on that, but up $2,700 for the day. So you don't need a lot, really. You know, I for so long I just rushed two contracts, 3 contracts, just trying to get greedy and trying to grow too fast. You know, I'd heard those words. It's not a get rich quick scheme, but the trouble is, all you seem to be doing as a newer trader is hearing how many people are getting massive payments and you kind of think you want a piece of it, and you rush to get it, and it doesn't work. But when you start to take it slow and steady, it's surprising how the accounts start to grow. The downside, if there is a downside to prop firms, if you started with your own money, let's say you put $3,000 of your own money in there, and you traded, say, a contract, straight away you've got money and you can start to make it. But with a prop firm, you start on zero, so you've got nothing. And the trouble is, when you've got nothing, you got a more chance of taking a risk. When your account is at zero, you're going to take more risks. When now my accounts are at 2,000-3,000, there's no way I'm risking them because I've got something to protect. So that's kind of the downside, if there is one, to prop firms. And you try and rush and take risks to get them to a reasonable level where you can start to protect them. It's an odd way of looking at it, but it's just a kind of natural human response. When you've got nothing to lose, you tend to take more risks, and you tend to think it takes forever. But once you start to get your accounts around the $2,600, that's when you can start to see some regular payments coming in. And it's, recently, the last sort of couple of months, I've just seen things a bit different. I'm just taking a back seat and slowing down a bit, and it's surprising how things are starting to take a turn for the better. So I'll leave you there, guys. Friday tomorrow, another week gone already, and then we'll be in March next week. Unbelievable. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. Have a good day. Yes, you too, bud, and you, Exponential. Have a great day. I'm going to go and sample this British single malt. So I'll catch up with you guys same time tomorrow. You're welcome, Kurt. I appreciate your company. Best of luck. Have a safe evening. We'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.